Good morning, Giants. Back at it. Here we go again. 6:18. Uh, just a random thought on my mind. I like to do these random thoughts. I think they're better. I don't have a plan, like I said. So this one is. I was thinking about a change that I made to Facebook this morning. My business partner pointed out that on my post that I did for Paul Cardall's announcement for his show on May 17th, that I still had their Easter, come in on Easter and watch the show. Well, that was incorrect. So I went in this morning and I changed it and deleted that out. And everywhere that was posted changed instantly and automatically with that change. And so that's what's triggering this thought this morning. And so if you'll hang with me, I'm going to explain some concepts that I hope you understand, that you can go back and research too if you want to look into these more and really dive into them, because I think it's cool. I nerd out on this stuff. So what I want to talk about is that change. So when I made a change in one area, one part of my Facebook, it changed it across Facebook instantly. And immediately it changed it across Facebook as if it never existed the other way. And so even if you had seen that, all you can see now, even if you had seen the Easter, all you can see now is the change. And so going back to it, it would be as though it never existed. It's a life. And let me tell you about Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger was a physicist that changed to a biologist. And his is that what if inside of a box, if you put a cat in a box and it had a chance of dying and living inside of that box, but you didn't know until you opened the box. And so once you open the box, the cat lived in two possibilities. It was both alive and dead inside of the box. And as soon as you open the box, then that cat would be one of those two things, and it would confirm one way or the other whether it was alive or dead. And it would depend on how we observed it that would create that. Well, he thought the whole thing was garbage and dropped physics and went into biology because he thought that was a stupid argument. Well, physicists later on showed that he was correct, that all things live as possibility until they're observed the way, I guess, the way we want, and then they become reality. And so there's an experiment called the double slit experiment where they shoot electrons at a slit in a wall, and the electron is either a wave or a particle depending on if it's observed. Well, that's interesting, right? So once it's observed, it becomes a particle. But if it's not observed, it's a wave. So if it's a wave, that means it can exist in all forms simultaneously in all places. Once it's observed, it becomes a particle and only be observed a certain way. And they don't yet know how it works, but it does exist. And so look up the double slit experiment, and it'll blow your mind if you haven't seen it. It's interesting. It's quantum physics, and it's real. They just recently did this with an atom, where well, let me go back. So an electron becomes a particle, right? And that particle can exist in two places at once, simultaneously. And so that means that it can exist as a particle here and maybe in another spot of the universe, you name it. But they've done this with atoms too. So an atom is a makeup of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And sometimes when two atoms come together, they share electrons. So that's why an electron can exist in two places at once. It's not like there are multiple electrons coming in from each. They become shared, and that's what merges those together. So now, if an atom can exist in two places at once, that takes it to another level, because we're made of atoms. We have 7 billion to the third power, I think 7 billion atoms in our bodies. So we're made up of atoms. Space in between our cells, but you'd never know that. It feels tangible. And so the thought experiment that I want to play here is that when we choose something into our life, it always exists in every possibility in front of us, always. And we get to choose, kind of like a weaver, which threads come into our life and show up as reality. And once you change it, it changes across the board. You know, I've heard people talk about when you change things for you, you change it for your entire history, all your ancestry, your generations, all the way back. I don't know how you'd prove that. That's more of a spiritual, dogmatic concept. Um, but I'm starting to believe it. As I change my life, I notice a change instantly in my kids without ever changing how I talk to them or say things to them. There's an energetic change in a shift in them of energy. Um, all things are possible to us. And we get stuck in these loops where we keep choosing and bringing up the same thing that we've been used to. Our brains want familiarity. Our brains want to go to the easy, rerun the program that we've always run because, hey, it's safe enough and we're going to make it through. But what we need to do is start to shift that so we start to pull into our reality the world that we want to create. Richard Paul Evans said that chaos is the mind of creation. Now, what's cool about that is chaos is everywhere, and we create order from it. A little different analogy or view of this is the law of entropy. You know, it says that things go from order to chaos automatically, and there's a point of stability where they reach a balance where they try and even out. They pursue equilibrium. But the pursuit is from order to chaos. Now, what we do is we take chaos and we make it ordered as humans. We take things that are not the formless thoughts, ideas, and we create them into form. So we take all this stuff that we have in our head and we think, man, I want to create that. I've got a desk in front of me. This thing didn't exist before. Somebody had a thought that they were going to make a desk, and they designed it, they created it, they pulled materials from chaos, and they created this desk that's holding my phone now. Even the phone I'm using right now didn't exist before. It was formless until somebody took from the chaos and created a form. Now, I know I'm all over a little bit here, but when you go into physics, this is all possible for us. We don't fully understand how the universe works, but some people go around and act like they do. And so what I would invite you to do is determine for yourself what you there's this component of believing in it and then acting on it, not necessarily controlling the outcome, but controlling the activity around the outcome. So if it works for you to believe that there's another possibility of life for you, a better version of life that's already existing and available to you at any time, then there's this possibility that you'll take actions that will create that into a reality, and it will feel seamless. So just like particles firing through the slits on the wall, you won't even be able to notice that there's been a change. It will just be. And that's what's amazing about this world, is that it just exists. And our mind fills in the gaps and we don't even notice. It just feels like there was this constant path that created that. But the reality is that that possibility is out there. It's available to all of us. Any life you could imagine is available to you. What brings it into reality is your belief in it and your activity around it. And as you do that, your life starts to shift. What you see as reality today could change tomorrow depending on how you edit it, what threads you pull into your tapestry, in a sense. I like the analogy of a tapestry. I feel like, if there's a loom, this is the example I use. If there's a loom and you've got all these threads available to you in the universe, all these things that you could pull into your loom, and you have the machine and you have the tapestry. And for life, a lot of us just take whatever thread comes. We'll just take that and put that into our tapestry. We'll just take it. It's good enough. But the reality is you're the weaver. You're the one that gets to decide what goes into that tapestry. So you could start to specifically choose, I'm going to pull this thread in, and I'm going to pull that thread in, and I'm going to pull all these in, and I'm going to look at the tapestry, see how it looks. It looks great. I'm going to just keep threading that and pulling it in and creating this artwork of your life. But the reality is all those threads that are out there are always out there. They're always there as a possibility. Like Richard Paul Evans said, that's the chaos. What's in front of you is the chaos. That's what you get to choose from. And what's available to you and me and anybody else is the same. And what we choose to pull into our tapestry is up to us. And so it's an analogy I hope you can hang on to and play with and make your own. But you get to decide ultimately what that looks like. And so the reality is yes, go look at physics and see that this is actually something that you can do. Understand that on a quantum level, on a universal level, on a spiritual level, if you want to look at it that way, all of these things are possibilities for us. They're all available to us. What comes into our life is what we choose to focus on. If you're pulling thread negativity into your life for your tapestry, then you'll see artwork of negativity in your tapestry. If you're pulling positivity in, then you're going to see threads of positivity through your tapestry. And so you're the one that's at control. You're the one that observes and believes and pulls in from the chaos to create the order. You're the one in control. And so pay attention to that. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to and start to choose strategically what you want in your life. And going back, I'll loop it back to my Facebook post. When you change it in one area, it changes in every area. So if you didn't catch that part, when I changed a post on one of my pages in Facebook, it changed on every post across Facebook. It didn't matter where that thing was, it changed it instantly and automatically. And that's how life works. So a couple things you can look at. Go online and look up the double slit experiment. Look up Schrodinger's cat. Look at atoms being in two places at once and particles being in two places at once. These are all measured and researched. Look up Richard Paul Evans' Chaos is the Mind of Creation. I don't know if he has a book or anything on that, but just a beautiful concept. We want chaos because that's where we create from. And so, especially right now where things are chaotic, man, what a great time to create a tapestry. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you guys go out and make it a giant day. Just real quick, we've got 5 days left on our Kickstarter campaign. We are going to create that. That is a reality. So we're still taking action on that heavily. So watch. If you want to watch, if you want to participate and pledge, you can. But just watch the activity. We are going to fund that this week. Think about, I just saw a post, Joanna, thank you. Subatomic particles, sheesh. Yeah, dive into it. I nerd out on that stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Just believe in it, pull from it, look it up, research it, because it'll shift the way you think about it. This isn't me making this up. So it's pretty cool stuff. So understand that you have all of these possibilities in front of you. Your life the way it is. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, it doesn't have to be that way. And the way for you to change it is to go out and take new action. So anyway, I went off on a little bit of a tantrum there. That's what I do in the mornings. I just whatever's on my mind, I'm going to talk about, and we'll get more clear on our TV show and the other things. But I appreciate you guys being here. Make it a giant day. I'll see you in the next video. And if you have questions or comments, please share those, and please share this with any friends you think would benefit. So we'll talk to you soon.